stall? Okay.
Don't remember that one.
Yeah, okay, that'd be one. That was fun.
We're gonna have to put an age limit on the door, George. You and I.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, no, I
Colby's
was.
not here, so you're all right.
I'm not there for that one.
Colby, who's Eddie Delphi?
Coach just Ben and Reinhardt.
All good, yeah.
And with that line today, it looked like you had Gadjo, Gadjo, Lomberg, and all
Just filling holes.
Okay.
So it's just maintenance for those guys, or?
It's not maintenance. Both of them, Sam Reinhardt has done this now 3 times. When we've had an opportunity to take a 2-bay block, we've asked him to. And it's the 2nd time Sam Bennett's done it. So tried to get Barkov to do it, but he won't.
So with that, you're anticipating lineup being the same for Game 6 on, or?
Close to it, yeah.
Looking at a guy like Ryan Lomberg, who hasn't played since he got sick, how have those guys been?
Oh, they've been really
They've
good.
been the fifth line.
Well, you can. So even if you don't take my word for it, and yeah, you could sit up there and watch the practices and listen to them, and that's almost a tell of those guys in the playoffs that are in and out, how they fit, how they feel. They're still chirping, right? They're still guys. They're completely part of it and part of the room. So they've been great.
Someone just said they'd rather be on the bench in this position with the Panthers than on the beach somewhere and be in the top 6 somewhere else and be in Cancun.
Sharing this is what it's all about. The whole thing, right? The energy, the ups, the downs, the juice. This is just. Maybe it's not completely different. We had a little bit of this in the regular season last year because of the fight we had to put in to get to the playoffs last year. But it's just such a different thing. This is the special time in hockey. And as the players get older, coaches get older, you just learn to appreciate so much more. It's so hard to get here. There's not 17 or 16 teams that just are on a run in the playoffs every year. It's hard to get here. So when you get here, you got to enjoy it. I think those guys, critical pieces last year, and at times they'll be critical pieces this year.
Paul, do you put any stock into, you've won 5 straight TD Garden going back to last year in the playoffs, and you go back now to try to win a 6th straight and end this thing. Do you put any stock into that?
I've never really understood that whole a team's got to, but there is, right? Like there's certain teams, our regular season record against certain teams is incredible against some teams, and then even if they're not not very good, right? So I don't feel that happens in the playoffs. There would be a comfort level, I think, road and home. I do believe in that, right? Like if coach teams went, we're not losing at home, or we're a great road team, but I feel like we play pretty close to our game at home and on the road. There's not much variation, and that's true analytically as well. There's not if you separate home and road games, the biggest differentiation in regular seasons is you have a tendency to take more penalties on the road, and that changes some of the analytics, but that's about it.
Paul, with Anton Lundell, kind of like a 2-parter for you. Just in terms of his improvement, not just year over year, but it feels like he really turned the corner about around January when he got put up on a line with Brian.
Yeah.
And then just him maturing into somebody who you can rely on in really all situations.
Right. Well, there was a stat on one of the boards in one of the games, and I don't know if I got this number right, so I'll have to ask you to find it if it's close. But he's closing in on 40 playoff games. Did you mention that? You said. Okay, you said that to me. Doug Plagans, everybody. Yeah. That's an incredible number for a young man, and it is just, you cannot tell a player what the playoffs are like. You cannot tell a young player. It's no different than when they come into the league. They think, oh, my skills are right there. I'm ready to play in the NHL. And sometimes these young kids come in and they have great skills, and they are kind of ready, except there's a whole bunch of their game they don't have yet, right? So it takes them years to get that. It's the exact same idea as taking a young guy, and we had a conversation in Edmonton 2 years ago about the physicality of the game and where this game will go and what the playoffs are like. And he tried. The next game, I think he had a couple of hits. He was more physically involved, and that was kind of the start of the process for him. But the value of the run last year is maybe for a guy like Anton Lundell more than anybody else. He's a completely better understanding. So when you grab him in November and say, hey, you got to get on it a little heavier, he knows why. I agree with you. He was good this year. I think what happened early on, young guy, he's got a contract coming up. He doesn't cheat the game. He just wanted to score. He had a bunch of chances that didn't go, and I think it slowed his game a little bit. Then he hit that kind of mid-December, we had a funeral for everybody's stats in the room, And then you just go play and you just kind of, then you're right though. He got in, we had the injury, he goes in and plays with Sam Reinhart again, and boom, he takes off. And then it didn't matter who he played with, it was his game. So what you're looking for in a center iceman is they will come to an age where they can drive their own line. And I feel he's driving that line now.
Looking at the power play the past couple, aside for that 4-goal game, have you guys thought about tweaking anything or anything like that?
We'd like to score, George.
Yeah.
We had the 4-goal game, then the game winner, the next one, or the game tire, the next one. And then we had 3 good looks on the back half. We didn't love our entries. So we'll just try to clean those up. I think we're 1 or 2 in entries over the course of the year.
Coach, I know we talked about Forsling quite a bit. We just talked about penalties. How impressive is it to have a stick as active as his is and to kill as many plays as he does without taking penalties? It seems like he's really mastered that art.
Yeah. So he's got the 2. There's some guys that are great skaters and they close the gap. And I'm going to pull names out. When I said that to you, the first name, Brett Hedigan reminded me of that. He was such an incredible skater that he could take his game, and he came into the game as an offensive defenseman, but he became then a really strong shutdown guy, and it was all his feet. And then you've got these guys with have incredible sticks. They just knock stuff out of the air. And I don't know, I remember Nick Lidstrom doing that in the Stanley Cup final 20 years ago. You'd make a play. You got a break, right? You got your 2-on-1. Just knock the thing down all the time. He does that in practice all the time. Drives guys nuts on the 3-on-2s. But he's so good at they don't get frustrated. They kind of went, it's for us. What are you going to do? Then he's got the combination of the 2. He's got these incredible skating defensemen. His gaps are great. The style of game that we played, I think, is perfectly built for his talents. And then he's got the incredible stick.
Well, I had some people say to me, when we're in a situation like this, you're so mild-mannered, but the choice words you used the other night when you're trying to fire your team is getting a lot of play. Are you surprised about that?
Oh, that's just a bigger philosophical, and it's very poignant for the situation that I feel we're in. I'm always, let's just say, intrigued by the talking point that becomes the story of the day when I watch the game and go, I don't think that's that big a deal. I would say that not all, if we're going to agree on a word of tirade, that wasn't, are mean-spirited. Some are. Some you're just really angry, right? And that's the emotion you're letting out. I was just thinking that we needed some juice, right? So I was trying to fire him up a little bit about where we're at. You kind of, am I the most excited person on the bench, right? That question goes, sometimes you get into a game in November going, I'm the only person here who wants to be here tonight, right? And then there's sometimes where you say, you know what, you just shut up. And I've said that even out loud, shut, and then I use I use profanity on my own self at times. Yeah, I mean, we scored a goal. It was just, I get it. The camera's on me. I'm not sure it's a timeout, so I'm not sure if it is or not at that point. Usually I'm careful about when I run my mouth. I know when the camera's on me, so you kind of learn. Usually I'm more careful with it. I don't get caught as often, and I got caught. And we scored, so that worked out okay for me and for the team, more importantly, but that had nothing to do with it. There's 1,000 of those out there, and the other team goes right down the ice and scores. You go, I guess I think we've worked hard here for 2 years. The X's and O's are pretty well understood and they're communicated. So for me, this is about emotion and finding the balance between making sure that we stay disciplined, and we've been an incredibly disciplined team in this series, and also have some juice and enjoy the hell out of it. Like, I don't want to hold my breath for 2.5 hours just hoping we win. What kind of life is that? And I want the players to feel that from me, because that might be the one thing I have in terms of experience is you get a little older, you don't get to come to the rink, you don't have as many days left coming to the rink and enjoying it. You're in the playoffs, got a pretty good team. We got a great bunch of guys. Whether we're down 1 or 2 or up 1 or 2, we can't be holding our breath here, man. We gotta live it, enjoy it.
Well, in that same kind of vein, how do you keep the players, where the series is at now, 3-2, going to Boston, keep players from getting tight and worrying about, well, what if this happens, what if this happens, etc.
Well, something I know is gonna happen. That I know. The rest of it I don't, so I won't spend any time worrying about the what ifs. And it's the things that you don't know. So you put your heart and soul into Game 6. But what if you need to lose Game 6 to win Game 7? What if you don't learn anything in Game 6 and you win, and that caught you're out 4 straight the next round? So I'm not gonna spend any time worrying about the result. I'm gonna make sure the team's prepared. I'm gonna make sure they feel good about the game, and then I'm gonna go and, I don't know if coaching my ass off means anything, but I'm gonna go in and try to be a part of it.
Are you confident they'll won't need to be fired up tomorrow in the situation that they're in? Or?
I don't think they've needed to be fired up at all in the playoffs. I just don't. That's not it. Sometimes you're trying to break the log jam of possibly that question. So you worry that, you know, the last 3 shifts didn't go our way, and then they start to tight. There's not an energy play. I don't think I manage emotions in the playoffs like that. I don't ever have to fire them up. Sometimes I want them to see me loose, and sometimes I want them to see me not. But most times I just show them how I'm feeling. Everybody can tell. Not all the time. Nope. I think I just try to show them how I feel. That's it. That's how I come in here. I do try to manage it because I start talking hockey and I can't shut up, right?
You
See how I did that? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, go ahead. You are you going to Boston? Okay, let's do it.
You talked about having your team enjoy this run. How do you enjoy this? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
an idea.
So the first part is kind of, you got to define the word enjoy. So I'm going to use that for a spectrum of emotion, maybe like this. So you lose a game, you're absolutely distraught. And if you walk up to me and say, hey, are you enjoying this? No. It's the worst, terrible feeling in the world. But it's going to pass. And then you win a game. And I would say I have a tendency to get a little bit lower than I do high. You win a game and it's more peaceful feeling. You feel really good. But you also know that's going to disappear. So I would say I absolutely enjoy the spectrum of emotion that playoffs brings, the juice of it. Could you live like this 12 months straight? No, you just fry, right? This is all the things that you can imagine that emotion is. It is highs and lows. You are angry at times, whatever it is, calls, whatever, like extremely angry. And then, I make myself enjoy it. Like every once in a while you need a kick too, man. Like it's hard to get here. Right? There's 7 other teams, 32 in the league, 7 are here, and half of them are all tight because they're at 3-2, and half of them are all uptight because they're 2-3, and it's just wired on an off day. So I watched my caffeine intake today, and then I won't watch it tomorrow.
Better than the alternative, right?
Isn't that the truth? Right? Like fishing's no fun this time of year anyway.
And obviously spend more time together and talk about hockey and other stuff all together. So that kind of builds the team chemistry, and I think that's about it. But I think it fits our system of play really well, that we want to play really hard and simple and on the road especially.
Do you enjoy that atmosphere, especially in a place like Boston?
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere there. They love their sports, they love their hockey, so it's great to play there.
But Boston right now playing with a little bit of house money, having come back a little bit from 3-1 down. How do you guys handle the way Boston is going to come at you?
I think most important for us to do is just think about us and get ourselves ready, and only think about what we can do and what we can do to be at our best when tomorrow the puck drops, and that's all about us. That's all what we want to think about.
Do you think being in that position last year, with you guys being on the opposite end, I think it helped you anticipate what's going to come, because you guys had to go through it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, all the experience that when you're playing in the playoffs, every game you learn something, and the more games you play, the more you learn. So, of course, every single game last year and years before that, they teach us a lot.
What do you think you need to do better than you didn't do last game?
There's a few things, of course. Like I would say, like we gotta be a little more simple, like predictable for each other. Play a little harder, obviously, and we know they're gonna have their best game, and we want to have our best game. So that's our challenge.
You've been playing from behind the last 2 games. Maybe important not to be chasing games as much the last couple.
Yeah, of course. First goal is huge. Every game, any game. So gotta concentrate on getting a good start.
Your last 2 games at Boston, you guys have had 8 different goal scorers. How big has depth been for you guys in this series?
Yeah, it's huge. Whole season we've had great depth in our team. We're a really deep team, so it helps a lot. And like I said earlier, no matter who scores the goals, all we want to think about is playing our own game and our style.
You guys have won 5 straight playoff games in Boston. Does that help mentally, or is that something you just put out of your, I don't know.
We don't think about that. Obviously, we just go there and want to execute as good as possible, and just like I said a million times, just play our game.
Boston seemed to clear the puck a lot cleaner last game from your forward. What do you need to do? What do they do differently? What do you need to do this game?
Yeah, of course, every aspect of our game needs to be a little better than last game. We didn't like our game, but I think tomorrow we want to be as good as possible and be a lot better than last game.
Where do you think the calmness of this team comes from in situations like this or going on the road for games like this?
Well, I think experience is one. We had a good run last year. Obviously, this year is a new year, so we learned a lot during the season and during the playoffs as well. And obviously, we have great people in this organization and in the team who brings that leadership and calmness in the room. And so it's a great place to be.
Did you see last night Boston Astros were in the picture?
Yeah, someone sent a message to me. It was nice of him.
What's been the key to shutting down Boston's power play this series?
I think our PK just dialed in. We watch a lot of video. We learn a lot about their power play, and obviously playing against Tampa first round, they have elite power play as well. So helping to learn from them how to play that helps too. And obviously Boston has really good power play unit and both units. So you got to be on your toes every single second.
Thank you.
Guys,
Feels good. We're very excited for the challenge going on the road here. Get that extra day was huge. We feel refreshed and we're ready to go.
And we've talked to a number of you guys about it, but going on the road to Boston, you guys have had some success in that building, but you guys seem to thrive when you go into hostile road environments. What brings out the best in this group when you go into a place like that?
Absolutely. I think we come along, like we come together on the road and hang out at the hotel, having a good time, and I think we like that kind of underdog mentality, and I think we've been playing unreal on the road.
You guys held Boston to under 20 shots, and I think for like 2-3 games straight. And last game, obviously, get off like 28. Just what's the key to kind of minimizing Boston's chances, and did they do anything different in the last game that gave them a better offensive chance?
No, I think they did a good job forechecking us. I think that's a big key, both for us and them. We want to get the forecheck going and turn pucks over and take it to net. So that's really how you create.
The last game, just 9 penalties. Do you expect that type of tempo when you face a desperate team like this, or do you think they're going to come more at you?
No, I think for sure we're going to see more discipline. That's kind of what I expect in the playoffs, and not taking any stupid penalties. But at the same time, when you play hard, it's gonna be some penalties out there.
Going back to the road, what do you guys just like about playing at TD Garden? Obviously, you won 5 straight there. You had the big comeback there last year. Just obviously, it's one of the crazier atmospheres in the NHL. What does that do for you guys in terms of bringing the energy out of you?
No, it's awesome. It's a great building. We love playing there, so we're ready. I can't wait for tomorrow.
And speaking of the comeback from last year, you guys were basically in their shoes for last year against them, having your back against the wall. From being in that spot, what did you guys learn about what you're going to have to anticipate from them coming in Game 6?
Just enjoying the moment, to be honest. Not be too tight or too loose. Just play in the moment and enjoy those kind of tough games.
You guys' road record is basically the same as your home record. Why do you think he was basically so consistent regardless of where the game was?
I don't know, to be honest, but I think just our game is we're trying to play our the same way at home on the road. It doesn't really matter for us if we're on the road or home. We're trying to play the same way.
You and Ekblad have locked it down on the penalty kill, no goals against. What's been the key to that success?
I think it's something we've been working on the whole season, pretty much. So it's something that we've been talking a lot about and watching a lot of videos. So I think we're just executing.
How important is that with swinging some momentum and killing Boston's momentum?
It's huge. Special teams is huge in the playoffs, and you can see it out there.
I don't know if they've announced if Brad Marchand is going to play or not in Game 6. But what does he do? What does he change about Boston's offensive attack?
You know, he's a very, very skilled player, and you know he's a very good player for them. Huge, their captain, and you know he brings a lot for them.
Thank you. Thank you, Gus.